works with Via Credit Union, and let's see if this is, there it is. Yeah, so she's going to go over the marketing plan with you, and I'm going to turn it over to her, and you can just hit the down here.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, thank you. As she mentioned, I'm the marketing manager at Via Credit Union, and congratulations on getting most of those right. So when you think of orange, what do you think of? What do you think of? Yeah, good job. Everybody gets an A now. You say, Tim was saying that she should have put the Via Credit Union logo up there. I agree. Well, we changed our name 7 years ago, and obviously branding has been very important, and we'll kind of talk about what exactly branding is. But you know, that's what my whole intention is that when somebody thinks of orange, they think of Via. Okay, so what is marketing? This is the actual definition. So it's an action or business promoting or selling services or goods. So you guys are being marketed to all the time. You may not even realize it, but you are. When you're driving down the bypass and you're seeing logos when you're driving past Fazoli's or, you know, Moe's, O'Reilly's, and then you all of a sudden start chanting the jingle in your head. Does anybody else do that? Like, what's O'Reilly's? Yeah. What do you think of when you see Moe's? Yeah, see, they are branding to you all the time, whether you know it or not. But so what marketing is you know, making sure that you are promoting your product or your good, and actually even being intentional with it too. So like one example is, you know, right now we're gearing up towards the Christmas season. So I have a 7-year-old, so we watch the Disney Channel a lot, and right now I notice there's tons of kids toy commercials. So that, you know, obviously they're intentional. They know those kids are working on their Christmas list, so they're playing tons of toy commercials. You know, around the summertime, people are going on vacation, so you're going to see a lot of, you know, Travelocity commercials or hotel commercials, Disney commercials. There's going to be, they're intentionally marketing in the heavy times when you guys are thinking of doing these things. So it's always important to be at the top of the mind of the consumer, you know, depending on what your product is. If it's something that's available all year round, then you're probably going to be marketed all year round. Or if there's something specific in your business that you want to market to that's, you know, maybe seasonal, then obviously you're going to push harder, spend more money in that time. You know, there's always going to be a blend of marketing too. You don't always want to have everything on in one media, for example. You want to try to be top of mind wherever they are. So you're probably going to want to spread your marketing budget along, you know, the mass medias like television, radio, but you'll also want to use some of the free options, you know, like social media, websites. So wherever your targeted market is where you'll want to be. Obviously, even just being in the community, you know, having posters available in the communities, that is always something that is available to help too. So this is an example of like a board meeting with, you know, an executive saying that this is their targeted market. Frankenstein. But really, obviously, you guys are not going to be marketing to Frankenstein, but you're going to have somebody in mind to market your product to. So a targeted market is somebody that you know would use your product. So like, what is somebody's business or product that does anybody want to share? Nobody wants to share?
We're flipping houses.
Flipping houses? Okay. So who do you think your targeted market would be?
Kind of middle-aged, like those who are looking to purchase something.
Yep, someone looking to purchase maybe their first home. Yeah, perfect. Anybody else?
We're a dog grooming business, so dog pet owners.
Yep, perfect. So you guys kind of have already probably thought about who your targeted markets are going to be because, you know, with your product. So, you know, just to be able to kind of write it down to know who it is. And you may have to even, you know, think outside the box on who it is. So obviously, you know, pet owners, you know, that's definitely going to be your targeted market. But there may be grandparents of pet owners. They may be the ones that would want to provide the grooming to the pet. You know, with house flipping, you know, it may be the first time home buyers, but you know, there could be some other people. that you'd want to market to. You know, people who are wanting to invest in homes and then renting to college students. So I mean, you have to kind of think outside the box. But something definitely to remember is that you don't want to try to be everything to everyone. Otherwise, you're just going to blow all of your budget. So you want to have it narrowed down to a targeted market, so that you can invest all that money into trying to reach the people that you know are going to be using your product. Also, some other things is to be able to look at the competition. So, you know, what is the competition doing? You know, I always kind of think about, you know, there's Moe's, there's Qdoba, Chipotle. They kind of all offer the same product, you know, fresh Mexican food, but there's a lot of differences between them. And if you think about them, they kind of are all marketing to a different age group, or, you know, if you know, Moe's is kind of the fun place. You know, you feel safe to take not safe, but comfortable taking your kids in there and they can run around. It's okay. But, you know, maybe Chipotle is a little bit more, like where people go on their lunch hour, or, you know, you take your business clients. So it's maybe not acceptable for kids to run around there. I'm sure people do it, but, you know, if you try to think about different things like that. But whatever you have, make sure you stick to it. And another thing to think about whenever you're trying to think of a marketing campaign is, you know, what makes your business unique to this targeted market? You know, what would the community not have or miss if you weren't in this community? So that's just something to think about too. Like, what do you bring to the table that's different than your competitors? So in marketing, when you're kind of thinking about it, there's the 4 Ps. So there's, you obviously have your product and your price, the place, your location, and then whatever you're promoting. So those are the 4 things to remember, to think about whenever you're working on your product to promote it. You know, these are just kind of tips to organize your thoughts and your plan as you're working together to put your marketing plan together. It kind of breaks it down a little bit more, like for product. Okay, so consistency is definitely key. So, you know, with your dog grooming, if you are promoting that you're really great of trimming nails, you know, then making sure that that's something that you promote, and you're going to be the place that knows to trim nails. I have no idea if that's even the thing that the dog groomers do, but whatever it is, you know, making sure that that is what people know and what they think of you. Obviously being consistent. So, you know, once you have your product, making sure that people know that it's good quality, or you know, with the branding, you know, making sure that you have a consistent brand. So, you know, if your logo has a dog in it, and then next month it has your logo has a cat in it, you know, you don't want to be switching it up very often. Now, that's not to say that, you know, whenever I'm telling you not to switch your logo, you probably think of different companies that do. They change it up. Like that Pepsi logo that she showed, that's a fairly new Pepsi logo. You know, it's fun whenever you watch old movies and then you see like a Pepsi can or a Coke can sitting in the background. You're like, wow, that's really old. But you can still tell it's Pepsi, or you can still tell it's Coke. They just refreshed their brand. And then, you know, this also kind of talks about, you know, even like symbols or sounds. Like a lot of those logos that she showed, I mean, they didn't even have the brand written on it. It was just you know, like the apple. It's just an apple, or Starbucks, you know, it's just that crazy looking lady. I don't know what she is. So, I mean, even if you know, make sure your logo is consistent, and make people think about your brand name whenever they see the logo. Also, you know, it talks about like the packaging, the labels. You know, if you think about like Apple, whenever you buy a new iPad or a new iPod, you know, it's cool. Like the packaging is cool. It's not something disposable. Like when you buy something at the store, you just know you want to throw it away. Like it's a little bit more unique. Maybe you'd want to save the packaging. I also have an example of like a tissue box. Like obviously everybody uses tissues, but usually they're just, you know, sitting at home on your table. I know I've purchased Kleenex boxes that like will fit into my little holder in my car, and there are definitely a lot less tissues in that box, but it's convenient because I have a place for it in my car and I don't have a box sliding around in the back seat or whatever. So I mean, you know, you may have, obviously Kleenex has tons of different sizes, designs, everything, but there's a product for everybody. Also, you know, along the lines with packaging, you know, that you may package your product in different ways too. Does anybody have like an actual product, not necessarily a service? No? Okay. Well, I was just going to kind of mention, like, you know, that tissue box example I gave, that was for convenience. So, I mean, you know, somebody thought outside the box and thought, people have tissues in their car, let's make a box that'll fit in a car. So, I mean, making sure that you're thinking about what your customers need. We kind of already touched on this a little bit. You know, this is an example of Coca-Cola starting in 1886, and then, you know, what their logo looks like today. I mean, if you saw this logo in 1900s, you'd still know it was Coke, right? I think this must be before they had color printers, and then they introduced color printers. I don't know. It turned into color in 1950. But I mean, you can tell it's always the same product. It's Coca-Cola. You know, here is a little bit more current one where they're just saying Coke. Well, it looks like in 1985 they used the word Coke, just Coke too. So I think they even kind of look back and see what would work. I mean, I also feel like Coke has done a really good job of kind of vamping up their brand just in the last couple of years. Like, how many of you, admit it, that have bought a Coke because it had your name on it, or you bought one for somebody because it had your name on it? She's not the only one, I know it. They don't have one with your name on it? Darn it, you must have a unique name.
It's just Cheyenne. Like, how hard is that?
Yeah, that's not hard.
Really. Like, they have Shaniqua and everything else. Because I work at Tractor Supply. And like,
so you go through all of them?
Yeah, I go through them and I'm like, really? Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. You don't even see? And what did you do with that bottle? Did you take a picture of it? Did you put it on social media? Yes. See? How awesome. They had something there, because, you know, they just got free advertising on social media to all of her friends. Did you drink the Coke or did you just save the bottle?
No, I was with my sister to go buy another one so we could take pictures together. Like the whole family, like mom, dad, and then our names.
Yeah.
I thought it was cute.
See? This is, I mean, they did something, especially since she doesn't usually buy Coke. Oh no, we already kind of talked about mascots, but you know, they're part of the branding too. You know, you think of the little Pillsbury Doughboy. You know, he's a little mascot. You think of Piggy Banks. Where does she belong? That'd be a credit union. Maybe you guys don't know about Piggy Banks. Mr. Clean, you know, that guy with the bald head. You know, I mean, he's their mascot. So I mean, mascots are something too. So you guys got a pet that you have in mind for your mascot?
Take a picture of my dog and her cat.
There you go.
We're not doing cats, but her cat's cute.
Yeah, but if I saw a picture or a mascot of a cat, I would think that you did cat grooming.
Her cat's cute.
Okay, so price. Price is something else, obviously, that you have to take into consideration. You're probably gonna have to figure out how much your product costs. You know, how much does it cost to have the building? How much does it cost for the water bill, for heaven's sakes? For the utilities. You have to obviously factor in all of that before you figure out the price of the product or service that you're offering. And then obviously, a lot of marketing is not free, so you want to kind of factor into those costs too. So there's going to be a lot of variable and fixed costs that you're going to have to take into consideration when you're pricing your product. Also, the competition. You know, you don't want to spend, you know, like I watch House Hunter, so, and like all those shows on HGTV. So sometimes, you know, in California, they put like $150,000 into a house. Like if you put $150,000 into a house to fix it up around here, chances are you're probably not going to get your money back. So, I mean, you obviously have to know that. You have to know the market. You have to know the competition, which is other houses in the area that are for sale. Same thing with your pet stores. You know, or pet grooming. You're probably going to find out what other people are charging so that you guys aren't extremely high. Or, I mean, maybe you want to start out kind of low or with some specials, but you also want to make sure you cover your cost. But you have to also remember that people pay for good service. They pay for convenience. You You know, how often do you guys go into a gas station and buy a pop or a candy bar or something? That, you know, you usually pay a lot more, or a vending machine, for heaven's sakes. You know, vending machines, you pay $1 for a candy bar when you can go to Walmart and get it for 50 cents. Or, you know, we went to the zoo last weekend. I paid $3 for a 20-ounce bottle. That's crazy, but we're thirsty. So, I mean, people do pay for convenience. They also pay for an experience. You know, have you guys ever, you know, gone somewhere where it was literally an experience? Like Rainforest Cafes. Anybody ever eat there before? It's okay. Well, it's really cool. It is completely an experience. You know, they make the smoke go off, and there's animals and aquariums, and so obviously the food is overpriced, but it's because you're paying for the experience too. So obviously you want to create something like that so that you can charge a little bit more, probably. Location, the place that you're located is also important. You know, obviously the bypass is a really busy place here in Marion, but you know, there's also successful businesses that are off the bypass too. You know, I like to think about Horner's Butcher Block. Has anybody ever shopped there before? Yeah, he even built a brand new, beautiful building in the same spot because it's worked for him. You know, I mean, people know where to go. He has a product and price that make people know to go there. You know, especially in today's world when people are looking for convenience. You know, you go grocery shopping at, you know, Walmart or Meijer, you could easily get your meat there, but people still go to Horner's. So like I said, I mean, location is important, but you know that it's not everything. If you do get a good enough reputation, then yeah. But is that the only thing you buy when you go there? Oh, it is. Okay. Does your parent? Yeah. Well, it's the same like strategy about, I don't know if you guys are conscious enough to know this or have learned enough about, but like when you go into a grocery store, they always put the eggs and the milk in the very back of the store. So you have to walk through the whole store to get like the one thing you're supposed to go there. Or do you ever hear your parents talk about, I just came in to get this one thing, and they end up with like half a cart full?
That's how my parents feel at Aldi, so that's why they don't shop there, is because you have to like walk through all the aisles in order to get to the aisle.
Yeah. Yeah, to get that $1.29 milk, you end up spending $30. So, yeah, marketing is all around us, and we may not, like I said, we may not even realize it, but they know what they're doing. So anyway, you know, obviously with location, you know, maybe you guys would want to team up with animal shelter or something, so that, you know, right when they adopt their pet, then they go and they get it groomed, or, you know, something like that. You know, just thinking something creative. Or, you know, with your locations, you know, you probably are going to figure out where houses are selling and try to target that area instead of a market that maybe houses aren't selling. They're the only two that shared what their product is, so they get all the examples. So then going into types of promotion. Like I said, you guys are being marketed to all over the place. Obviously, some of these are a little bit more obvious. But I mean, there's tons of different ways to promote your product. And like I said, some of these are very, very expensive. Like the mass medias are very expensive, but some of them could be free, you know, with like, well, free samples obviously are going to cost you, but personal selling, you know, just word of mouth. You know, everybody always talks about how word of mouth is obviously the cheapest and the most effective marketing. So if you give someone a good experience, they're going to tell their friends, then you're going to go, and then that, like I said, that's free marketing to you. So like we did, for an example, we had a free ATM, a new ATM a few years ago. And one of the ways that we promoted the ATM, obviously our members, we wanted them to know where the ATM was, but we also wanted to promote it to everybody because we get income for people using our ATM if you don't have an account at VIA. So we did all the mass medias. We had information in our branches. We had banners outside of our locations, and what we did is it was on St. Patrick's Day, and so we had a promotion that encouraged them to use the ATM, and we put $50 bills in the place of hundreds. And so there were $150 bills just mixed in with the 20s. You know how many people got $300 out every transaction that they did? They wanted to win the money. So, I mean, obviously, we felt like it was a successful promotion because we had increased usage in our ATMs. You know, obviously people knew then that the ATM was there. You know, we did get some fee income because there were people who just used their debit card there and they may not have used it there before. So, I mean, we felt like it was a successful promotion. That's something that you guys want to do. You definitely want to track. So, like, anytime you can use a coupon, you know, that's something that comes back in. So you know, for example, those Great Deal magazines, you know, those are full of coupons. They're all tracking. You know, they're tracking when you cut that coupon out and bring it in, or they scan your barcode. They're tracking to see, and they know that coupon came from, you know, that newspaper or that magazine, or, you know, that trade show. And that's just so they know what's working, so they know to go back to it and make sure that they're using the same strategy. Or, you know, we did an ad in the Chronicle this year. Not one person saw it, and it was for a $100 gift card. So obviously we knew that was not a successful promotion. So like I said, making sure that you do track it is very important. Trade shows, you know, those can be very, very effective too. But you have to be there promoting. I just came back from a convention, and it was kind of like a trade show. And there were some people that were just sitting there on their phones or talking to each other. Like that, it wasn't even approachable to go to their booth, you know. So having a fun game, or obviously a fun giveaway, it's going to draw people in. And then once they get into your booth, then you can talk to them about your products and services. Any questions about types of promotions? No? This is kind of some examples. But one thing people do, or marketers do, is they have different strategies. So, you know, there's some of them that will use something to like play on your emotions. I can't exactly think of who it is that promotes it, but you know that commercial with like all of the animals that are like have been beaten, and then they're playing that Sarah McLachlan song? Like, that's definitely playing on your emotions. Makes you just want to pick up the phone and make a donation, doesn't it? So obviously there's that kind of marketing. There's comedy. You know, you can think of all the funny commercials, like the Allstate Mayhem guy. He's always doing something funny. So, you know, that's a different way to market, to use comedy. So it kind of just depends on, you know, what your targeted market is. You know, obviously if it's you know, animal lovers, then maybe you're going to want to play onto their emotions. You know, obviously home buying is an emotional and stressful time, so you may want to throw some comedy in there. You know, it just kind of depends on who you're trying to target, and maybe you want to play with a couple different options. But I mean, there's two different spectrums there, but you want it to be lasting and memorable too. Like, can anybody think of like their favorite commercial right now because it's funny or emotional? DirecTVs?
Yeah.
Which one? They have all kinds of crazy ones.
Like the one where he ends up in a ditch. Like the ones where it just keeps escalating, like because he has cable instead of
DirecTV. Did you have one?
Yeah. Have you ever seen the commercials where the guy dog is driving the car and he has his black dog in the passenger seat? And there's like a younger dog that like goes by, and the dad dog, whatever you want to call it, sticks his tongue out, and the mom dog like starts growling at him. It was cute.
And what's it for?
I don't remember.
It's a car
Yeah.
commercial.
Oh, it's a car commercial. Okay. Because sometimes you think it and you're like, it's hilarious, this commercial, and then you're like, I don't even remember what we're doing. So like the Geico ones, I feel like sometimes those are funny, but you almost like don't even remember what the product they're trying to sell. But you know, subconsciously they're probably just branding, you know, branding to you. One of my favorite ones, but I think it still kind of is it's a Volkswagen one, but it's I think it played last year, maybe during the Super Bowl. This guy goes in and he's got a ski mask on, and he's just like cruising the aisles, and all you see is him like cruising the aisles. Then he just walks up to the cash register, and they're like, just take it, just take it. And he walks out, and then he hears all these sirens, and he gets into this Volkswagen convertible and takes off. Like, he just had a ski mask on because he was in a convertible and it was winter. I don't know. See, like, it's not even good when you explain it. You just got to watch it. But, I mean, that one, you know, it is memorable because they're promoting that they have a convertible. And, you know, they made it suspenseful, sort of, because you're like, what, you know, what's going to happen? Are they going to rob it? But then it ends with, you know, the convertible. So that was one of my favorite ones. So I guess in summary, whenever you guys are working on your marketing plans, you know, just making sure that you're strategic about your product and what you're promoting. Also, you know, like I mentioned, you know, the price, making sure that you don't price yourself too cheap or too expensive. Make it just right. And then location. You know, we kind of talked about it, that, you know, that is important, but you can't stress too much about that. You know, I guess one thing I didn't mention about place is usually in the busy areas, there's a premium. So, you know, in strip malls or, you know, in malls, you know, usually there's a premium for those locations because they're high trafficked areas. So you have to put that in consideration too. You know, there are successful people that have the grooming right out of their home. So, I mean, you know, it's just about how they promote it. And then obviously making sure that you use different areas for promotion. You know, obviously mass medias are usually the go-to, but, you know, try to think creatively. You know, knowing where your targeted market is, you can be pretty successful with that. You know, we offer a baby account, and it's probably been about 8 years ago, we started offering coupon, like in the coupon book, when new mothers deliver a MGH, they get this coupon book full. And so one of our coupons is the baby checks. Well, we've opened twice as many baby accounts that way versus just, you know, word of mouth, you know. But I mean, we target, that's the only place that we ever promote that we offer free baby accounts is in that packet, or yeah, in that packet. So it's very targeted. And I feel like that's, I mean, if you can narrow it down with email lists and things like that, that is the best. And join your local chamber. Tell Kylie I threw that in there. Do you guys have any questions? Do you guys know what the Chamber of Commerce does? When I was in high school, I had no idea. No? Well, we have a Grant County Chamber of Commerce, and what they do is they connect businesses to offer products to them and like help expose their business. So, I mean, if you would open up your dog grooming business, you could join the chamber, and then they maybe would have a grand opening or an open house for you. So they would bring people into your business, and when I say people, like other business owners, so then maybe you can get a connection with them where they could help promote you. And then obviously, you know, just inviting people in the public. I mean, I have a dog and I'm part of the chamber, so my dog's gonna have to be groomed. So it's just a great way to make connections. All right, well, good luck to you guys. I can't wait to hear, if I get to hear your presentations again this year, I hope. So thank you.